My mother died in the labor room, having my last brother. She did not live to see my brother, and my brother did not see the mother. So it was a very painful and sore point in my life because I never thought my mother could die because she was such a powerful woman. She was a woman that lived before her time, fighting for other women. So when she died, I was devastated. I made up my mind to work in reproductive health to make sure that other women don't die the way my mother died. And that's what shaped my life.
Hello, amazing viewers. It's another time again for another special interview. Welcome to My Strong Wife Show. Here in this show, as you know, this is where we have purpose-driven voices whose life has shaped global impact come around to share with us their amazing journey to greatness. My name is Adeola Atekoja, and today's guest is nothing short of a visionary. Deacon Mike Egboh, affectionately called Oga Mike, is a bold architect in the global health space. For 3 decades, he's been the forefront of guiding Nigeria's health policy. He has supported reproductive health breakthroughs and even helped stabilize multi-million-dollar initiative from USAID and the Global Fund in Nigeria back then. He is a mentor to hundreds of recipients of top leadership awards. Some of the awards include the US Presidential Medal and Harvard Alumni Honor. This is the story of leadership rooted in service. Please grab your seat, pick your pen and journal. Let's dive into the why behind this amazing gentleman. Deacon Mike, please welcome to our show. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm good. Good morning.
Great. Good morning to you and happy new month to you.
Same to you. Thank you. God bless you.
Awesome. I know very much from just looking at you, looking so bright, and I'm so happy. People can hardly predict your age with the look. You're still looking so strong and younger by the day. Thank you very much for coming. And
Thank
let's
you.
drive in straight to why we're here. I don't know how best I've been able to describe it, but I will just leave it to you because our viewers will want to know more who Deacon Mike Egboh is. So, can you please take us through a short intro about who is Deacon Mike Egboh?
Thank you very much and welcome, viewers. Um, like she has said, my name is Deacon Mike Egboh. Um, I am a vision-driven professional, and I always believe in vision. And what has driven me to this point that have taken me over 30 years of service is as a result of my own personal experience that shaped my vision. My mother died in the labor room, having my last brother, and she did not live to see my brother, and my brother did not see the mother. So it was a very painful and sore point in my life because I never thought my mother could die because she was such a powerful woman. She was a woman that lived before her time, fighting for other women. So when she died, I was devastated. And I made up my mind to work in reproductive health to make sure that other women don't die the way my mother died. And that's what shaped my life. So my vision was to ensure that other women don't die the way my mother died. So that was my vision. And I have lived that over the years. And that took me into working for the first opportunity I had was to work for an international organization, Pathfinder International, a family planning and reproductive health organization. And so I had the opportunity to discover how women in developing world, even in US, people are blamed, women are blamed for pregnancies. Women do not have power to negotiate when they get pregnant or not. And they were even blamed. When they get pregnant, they get blamed. I'm not talking about hearsay. I'm talking about seesaw. I saw it. I experienced it in my family. I went through the whole local government areas in Nigeria. So I have seen different cultures, how women are treated. And that gave me the motivation. That gave me the motivation to say, work hard. Let's find out um, how to ensure that this did not happen. So that's actually also what led me to go into public health. I had a degree in public health, epidemiology and environmental health, and then went to Harvard University where I got a master's in public health, also global health, and all these are in search of uh, the need to make sure that no other woman died in the process of bringing another life to the world. So that was my driving point. So everywhere I went, I was gathering data. And so that's what has led me to this point. Having said that, um, I discovered that in order for us to do it, there are policies that need to be made. There are education that we need to educate people. There are behaviors that needed to change, and they were not easy. Particularly in northern part of Nigeria, where it was like a taboo to say you're doing family planning. It was not an easy thing. But by the special grace of God, because this is where faith comes in. Because when you believe in God and that God can use you to make change happen, it will happen. And that's what happened in my situation. I also discovered that you need leadership because our leaders were paying lip services to real issues. Our men were not willing to discuss family planning. I'll give you one quick example. I went into one community somewhere in eastern Nigeria. I won't mention their names, where it is the practice for a woman to have 10 children. And once you have the 10th child, you're given a special place in the society.
Wow.
The Igbos call it, they kill a goat or kill a cow, and it's called ewuku. An Igbo person listening to me will understand this and will know what I'm talking about. I went to that community to work with the group. And when the Eze, that's the chief, heard that I was there with my team talking to women, I was given 8 hours. Was it 8 hours or some few hours to leave the town?
Ultimatum.
Yes, I was given ultimatum to leave or I would be dealt with mercilessly. So I left.
Wow.
But we complained to the governor and then we were invited back.
Oh my
And
God.
this is what
Tell
I'm
me.
talking about, behavior change communication. And we were invited back to the state and we brought the chiefs and others for a meeting. And lo and behold, praise be to God, we were able to change them and that practice stopped. I mean, some people may still be practicing it because if you go to that community, you see the high maternal mortality rate because women struggling to have 10 children, some of them die. Some of the children are malnourished, all in the name of trying to. But these are part of the things that make women die. So it's one of the things I remember, and I'm so glad about that it's happening. I know the Guardian newspaper had a center spread interview of me and the AZ of what happened. So these are some of the early things I did. I don't know if you want to ask another question.
Yes. I was curious to say that despite everything that we think globally is supposed to help shape how we think, and one of the things that you said about that story that I want you to still shed more insight into the fact that How has that role, because you mentioned there's no how we can have this policy in carry out without the backing of the government, as it were, and also before the National Health Act. I know you play a very pivotal, role in making sure that Health Act was passed. Can you share with us some of the complexity that you had to make happen before it eventually got passed?
Yeah, one other thing I'll tell you before I answer your question is that the Nigerian government passed a population policy or family planning policy, national. It was launched at the national level and at the state level. The president then did not come because he did not support. Some governors launched it, but implementing it was a problem. It was easy to make a policy. So Nigeria is one country where you have some of the best policies in the world, but you also have some of the worst implemented policies. So that said, when we went through that, we have to go through series because we have to go series of education at the local government level. Got involved with the traditional institution, or brought the traditional rulers together, work with the Roman Catholics who are also not in support of family planning, but they are in support of natural planning. We work together with them so that we can see how we work together collaboratively. We work together with politicians. We actually sent um, politicians, two House of Rep members, two senators, and program persons to Ghana to go and see the health system in Ghana. We sent another Islamic group, ulamas called Islamic Sheikhs, to Bangladesh. Bangladesh is 99% Islamic country. For them to go and see, because family planning was working in Bangladesh, why is it not working in Nigeria? We are not even 70% Islamic country. So we took them there. And then we took another group of women to Senegal to go and see what the Senegalese are doing, because there is a group they call Tostan. I was doing a good job there. So, because the reason I'm saying this is that for you to get support, you have to deal with religious persons, traditional persons, political persons. You remember that Nigerian derivation is based on the population that your state has. So some
That's true.
states were inflating their figures so that they can get more money. So when you start talking about family planning, people don't want to hear because they're looking for voters. They're not
Wow.
looking for survivors, people who are healthy. Whether you're healthy or not, voters is still a problem in the country today where everybody is inflating their numbers in terms of population. Nobody is looking at the health of the nation. So these were some of the challenges we had to do. And one of the things that we also did in another project was we went around the country when I was giving that project to manage, because again, this is where leadership comes in. In leadership, you're either selfish, in which case you are not a leader, matters a lot. Which most when we had this project and we were to put system in place in Nigeria, the first thing we got some BBC media persons with some of our media persons. They went around the country to document the health situation. We took that document to Mr. President, to the minister, who took it to Mr. President. And Mr. President said, this is unacceptable. So he called for the very first national presidential summit on health in Nigeria, the very first one, brought all the state people, actors to come and discuss health. As a result of that, the first national strategic health development plan was written. for Nigeria and for all the states. It never happened before. For the first time, donors were coordinated to make sure that they work together, because part of the problem in developing countries is that development partners come, they are in competition. They want to claim responsibility for whatever minimal uh, outcome that they have. So there is that competition. So, but this is the first time we were able to bring them together, coordinate them, and WHO wrote that initiative as a best practice. So these are some of the things, but that we did: getting traditional, getting religious, getting political persons to work together to see the point. Because I remember when we went to the Senate and we met with the Senate president, we told him, we said, every year, it is something thousand Nigerian women die in the process of bringing, of pregnancy, of delivery. And we say, when a plane crashes and 60 people die in that aircraft, we fly our flag half mast. We're mourning the 60 something. And we now ask him, say, who is mourning the 66,000 women that die every year? What are we doing? And it shocked him. You know, I remember we went with the former president's wife to see the late Mariam Babangida was with us on that thing. So that's the way we try to get, hold them accountable for their stewardship. Because we talk about leadership. Leadership, I always say, I like to connect an input to an outcome. What we normally do in most developing countries or in projects or even development partner, oh, we train 2,000 people, we train 15,000 people, we equip so many hospitals. The question is, so what? When you train these 15,000 people, what happens?
Yes,
Are they
thank you.
back to
It's
doing
great.
the work?
Yeah.
We train people in family planning. It was okay for them to go for 6 weeks training. They got money, they got hotel. When they got back, they say their religion forbids them to do family planning. The religion did not forbid them from going to the training. They got the money, they got funded, they took somebody else's place, but when it became to practicing now, doing the job, they said, no, my religion forbids. So these are some of the challenges that we have to find time to actually make sure that we hold people accountable.
Wow. I'm so wondering, like that statistic is shocking that
Yeah,
averagely every year. And
yeah,
I don't even know how to wrap that around my head. Even after the fact that we're living here in the US, we could see that they've done so well drastically to reduce anything that has to do with, maternal death and what have you. Because I can remember when I had my last baby too, after 7 years of not having babies, and when the doctor told me the truth, this baby will have to be operated and for me to so I can see how smooth and safe and how simple they just give you the implication and educate you on what is next and how you just need to agree willingly that this is the next. So I just, and with my husband's support, and in 5 minutes we could just, can you imagine? So, and we're still, I love the fact that you are mentioning the fact that when people go for those training, they are being equipped with the knowledge, the the aftermath, which is the effect that we're supposed to see upon our local
yeah.
environment and community, is the acid test of how we want to see the result of what we. And do you think back then now, compared to now, with such great work we have done, if we have been able to improve on how, will you say it is a question of passion? Because I know from the beginning of this conversation, you could tell that the passion behind what you're doing is something that was solely driven from that experience you shared. But how can we drive this narrative that everyone that sees the need for a cause can go all in to make sure that without being forced or coerced, they can deliver on that subject?
It's a tough question. It's a tough comment. I can tell you that yes, there has been some improvement, but some of those improvements are drowned by the kind of leaders that we have. Because leaders come in, they're not thinking about leaving a legacy behind. They're thinking the legacy, what they call the dividend of democracy, is the number of SUV cars they have, the number of mansions they build, the number of them that have aircraft. There's competition. These are people, we know what their salaries are. Nobody is holding them accountable to where did you get this money from. You don't have other businesses. You're a government person. Nobody is holding anybody accountable. So those are some of the things. And what we did to make sure that people have passion was like MacArthur Foundation gave us fund to train emerging leaders in public health. It was like, I am 70, and um, we need more people. We need younger ones to come in. So that was a very, very innovative uh, decision to train younger ones. And those younger ones that we trained that period today are heading industries today,
Wow.
different organizations today. They're in different places. So in leadership, we
Yeah.
should have a succession plan.
Mhm.
And our leaders, if you look at them, um, count all the presidents that have come out, try to figure out what is the legacy that each of these presidents left behind. You spent 8 years in office.
Yeah.
What is behind? What do we have to show? And that's why I say, so what? You train these people, so what? They go back to start working, so what? Are people, because you must be able to connect the dots, connect
Mhm.
input
Yeah.
to an outcome. I train this person is now working, and he has his health center that is well equipped. He has a community that is supporting. He has a supply chain system that is providing what he needs. And because all those things are functioning at the health center, people are coming, they are receiving services, the pregnancy rate is reducing. All people, malaria is dropping.
Mm.
All common illnesses, primary healthcare disease are coming down because people were trained, the clinic was equipped. You have to look at the system, which is something that I worked in. It pushed me to system. How do you develop a healthcare development system? You are in the US.
Yeah.
Things are working in the US because the earlier leaders invested in system.
Mm.
Here, our system, you in some African countries, you release money for development.
Mm.
Only about 40% will go into that development.
Yeah.
60 will go into, it's like putting water in a basket.
Yeah.
It does not retain.
Mm.
So the question is, how do we deal with leadership? And I can tell you my own experience there, because
Please do.
we try to we work with the National Assembly, we work with the um, state government, we work with the Roman Catholic. For instance, we're holding government accountable. I remember in that project, part two,
Yeah.
we took the Minister for Health, we took the governor of the state, Kaduna State, let me be specific, the
Yeah.
commissioner for health, and the two emirs. We went to a primary school, open field, open consultation. We say, okay, we got a man who was paralyzed. This man was taking his wife, a pregnant wife, rushing the wife to the hospital to deliver on a motorbike. They had accident. The wife died. The baby died. 2 years after, he was paralyzed, living in a hut. The Federation of Muslim Women Society were able to tell there's a problem. It was to ensure that that man and the wife did not have accident. So, hello?
That incident you just talked about, you mentioned that the wife
Yeah,
lost the baby, the wife died, and the husband got paralyzed. What did you say happened
yes.
afterwards?
The man was just living in a hut, in a village. We had to drive on a dusty road to get there. We wanted the minister to see what is going on. I'm trying to let you realize and let the listener realize the need to connect an action to an outcome. So from the action point, we asked the emirs, what could you have done to prevent this from happening? They say, oh, it's government, it's commissioner for health responsibility. You see, but these are your citizens. These are people who live around you. There are people with cars. Could you not have provided, ask one of your citizens to take the car and rush this woman to them? So we started defining the role of every person, the role of traditional rulers, the role of the state, what federal government need to provide, what the state need to provide, what civil society need to provide. So we went through that. That's one way we were holding government accountable.
I love that.
Yes, and
Hmm.
after that, with every month, if every quarter we will go around the country, we will look at the health report and say, okay, what have you done now? Let's see the report. And
Wow.
I remember we brought it to the National Federal Executive Council, and then one of the governors was like, but I released so much money. Why is my statistics low? Say, ask your people.
Hmm.
But it did not last long because some people,
Yeah.
this need you working 48 hours in a 24-hour day.
Hmm.
It does not need you sleeping. It needs you challenging the status quo. It needs you speaking truth to power.
Hmm.
It does not matter who the power is. There was a time I was on television in Kakaki, and I was talking about a woman who had accident, a PhD person, and the hospital could not help her. We had to send her to Ghana.
Hmm.
The Ghanaians were able to fix her within 40 minutes. She was paralyzed. She was able to get sensation. NTA News carried the news. And that's what created, an investigation of the Nigerian health system, specifically National Hospital,
Hmm.
because that's where the thing happened. And so if they could do it, why couldn't we do it? And my interview at Kakaki is live.
Yeah.
While I was still doing the interview, I was still being interviewed. My friends were sending me,
Mhm.
are you sure you are okay? Are you sure you will survive?
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
moved from there to Unila to go and have a press conference to make sure that I say, yes, they are looking for me, but this is, and so the next morning, everything was in the papers.
Hmm. Wow.
So afraid to die, we're afraid to speak the truth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Until we're able to speak the truth and be able to hold them accountable, we will never make it.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah.
Until we are able to speak the truth and hold people in power accountable, we will never have a lasting change in our community. And when I look at what you have done,
Yeah.
in fact, that consistency in advocating for reproductive health, rights, even the youth and maternal health, I want you to just speak broadly, in a broader perspective, to what are the things that you believe we should focus next that will even help our youth to have and continue to drive this focus globally?
Thank you. Youth, there are so many words that we abuse in development words.
Mm,
Oh, youth involvement. Youth this. There's nothing like youth involvement.
mm,
General Yakubu Gowon was 29 years when he became the president
mm,
of Nigeria. The current president of France is 30 something years.
mm,
So we keep holding meetings, adults like me. We keep holding meetings on behalf of the youth and calling them, yeah, leaders of tomorrow. You're destroying today. So where is tomorrow for them if you destroy today? The youth must stand up and do what they need to do. The youth must be involved. They must be actively involved in governance. Because some people, governance wisdom is not by age, it's by divine intervention. It's not by age.
mm,
I'm a Christian. Jesus Christ was how many years old when he started preaching? So it's not by age. So I think what we need to do is to give youth a chance to do what they need to do. Why I say give them a chance is because when they talk, when you say something, they'll say, "Oh, it's useful exuberance." In all my projects, every youth corper that came worked as if they are already employed. And
mm,
no youth corper work with me that did not get employment before they finish service. And they're only one of them is a director general today. One of the fastest growing is a director general at the federal government level today.
wow, that's
So we invested in youth. We
mm,
took youth to South Africa
mhm,
because then South Africa had a very good youth program. We collected youth from different parts of Nigeria and took them to South Africa. They came back to set up programs. A number of them have grown. A number of them are either commissioners or this. So you have to let them lead themselves. These youth programs were not being led by adults. But once an adult is there, like a pregnant woman, I
yeah,
give you a practical example. Um, a young girl that was pregnant before 18, unfortunately, was pregnant before 18. She appeared in the antenatal ward,
mhm,
and the midwife said, "What are you doing here? You should be in school.
mm,
What are you doing?" The truth is that this girl is pregnant. She needs
wow,
care. She does not need discrimination.
mm,
So you find young girls are afraid to go to clinics because of what the other mothers will say about them, what the midwife will say about them to say, "How did you get pregnant? Why did you get pregnant?" So we have to train them, we have to expose them, we have to empower them to be bold thinkers, to be bold speakers, to have courage in speaking,
mm,
because we did it during HIV control. We ensured some of the people that spoke out are youth.
mm,
It's one of them today had about 4 children. Is alive, is well, is married, and all that because she got the opportunity to be educated to know that she's not a failure. So I think we need to empower youths, and that's what we did. In my time during in my university days, we had what they call National Association of Nigerian Students. These
mhm,
days, they are called student government, student union government, or whatever it's called.
yeah,
They now write Prado cards. Politicians have infiltrated campuses and they
mm,
are telling them, "Don't worry, you finish. you find them a House of Rep member or State House Rep member because of what they've done in school to support the politicians. So if we are to have a youth program, a youth-led thing, because today we have failed. Leadership in Africa is a failure. Authoritatively, I can tell you that I've worked in 8 African countries. And so I'm not talking about Nigeria. It's not only Nigeria. I was country rep for Pathfinder in Nigeria and in Ghana, and working, supporting 6 other African countries. So for me, we need to start building cohorts. When you go to a primary school, start to train them about civic education. What is governance? What they hear democracy is the government of the people, by the people, for the people. Everybody knows that one. But what does it
What does
mean?
it mean?
What does it mean? So we need to start and let them go through that process of election. At this primary level. Secondary level, you have another one. There are groups they call them patriots in Nigeria. These are I don't want to use a negative word, but these are elders. You cannot call yourself patriots. You come from among the young ones that start looking. Bill Clinton met J.F. Kennedy. I have the picture of where he was standing as a high school student. He had a dream. From there, he saw what they were doing. He too later became a president.
Wow.
What we have in Africa today are presidents wanting their children to take over from them. The husband is president, the wife is vice president, the son is minister of defense. That's what we have. How can a country develop with that kind of structure? How can a disciplined military evolve when you have retired generals putting their children in the military? The discipline will go down. So for me, I think we need to be purposeful. We need to be intentional, and say there should be criteria for entering the military. We should be able to say, if you have been a general, blah, 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 let your child contest. Let them set down principles and adhere to it strictly. Don't be political about it. Don't be sentimental about it. Don't be religious about it. Just follow the basic principles. There should be a monitoring mechanism to ensure that those principles, to ensure that those guidelines are followed. The set down regulations are followed. So, in terms of youth, we have a lot of resources. My dear sister, our youth should not be dying crossing the Sahara Desert, leaving their carcasses on the dry sand. Our youth should not be dying along the Mediterranean Sea and being tossed around, some of them being deliberately pushed into the sea.
Wow.
Our youth should not be doing that. Our youth should be able to sit down and be able to say, what do we want? What country do we want? 10 years from now, what country do we want?
Wow. Well, thank you
It's
for
not
sharing.
a place where in one country where somebody rules youth programs.
Thank you very much for sharing. I know there's not going to be enough time to do justice to anything that is in your heart. But I want you to still speak on to this fact that as Africans in diaspora, many of us are looking forward to seeing how we can also, in any way, shape the conversation and want to also make impact, whether in our own little corner or in globally or in wherever we find ourselves. I want you to please speak on to how best will you advise people in that space, youth, even parents, individuals, how we can collectively, contribute to growing the impact that will help our life and our nation become the best in where we have been known to be.
Yeah. I'm going to disappoint you. Not deliberately, but number one is that the people who are in diaspora are people who ran away in the first case.
How do you mean?
A number of them, not all. Those days, early days in my time, people will come to study. After 4 years, all of them will return.
Yeah,
Most of them returned. They will
yeah.
return because they were very proud. They were able to pay their fees and they had pride. But the system failed everybody. And so people started jumping and running and say, okay, let me go and make money and return. Some people have made money, never returned. Some people have in the process died and been buried here. So you're very correct. The ideal thing is for people to go back and give back. But
Yes.
you find that there is a gap between knowledge
Mm,
and action.
mm,
A number of people don't know exactly what is going on. In the last 3 days, in the last 1 week, I've lost about three different persons. They
mm,
are youths. Okay, when it's easy for somebody in diaspora to say, oh, that goddamn country, they call you all kinds of names.
mm,
And they call everybody things, but they don't even know what is going on. Some of us stay there.
mm,
Some of us, I survived um, being killed. Let me use that word. I
mm,
survived it because of the kind of human being I am. I
mhm,
survived neglect because nobody wanted me close to them because of my mouth. So, in terms of diaspora, people in diaspora, the first thing is to connect with the reality. What is it that is happening on ground?
mhm,
Why is it that kidnapping is going on? The military is not able to do anything. The police is not able to do anything, and it's happening every day. Why is it that people are being killed and their land is taken from them and nothing has happened? Why is it that some people are just sucking the oil away and the government is not able to do something? And the question is, who is the government? Who are these people sucking this oil?
mm,
Where is our security system? So when if you remember at the conference I attended, and I said, do we know the problems? Before we start forming alliances, we should
mm,
know what we are confronting.
yeah,
So the first thing is for diaspora to find out what are the real issues.
mm,
When you document the real issues, go beyond, I always say, the root cause of a problem. Don't just say, oh, Igbos don't want to talk with Yorubas, Yorubas don't want to talk with them. That is nothing.
mm,
You have to say, why is it that Igbos don't want to work with the Yorubas? What is the root cause of it? How can we fix that root cause?
mm,
Why is there restiveness in the Niger Delta?
mm,
I can, again, authority, the community development department of Shell Petroleum today is as a result of the program that I led in the Niger Delta,
yes,
because
sir.
they did not see the need to support the people they were working with.
Yeah.
And that's why you had those youth residents. We went to Niger Delta with $400,000 to go and make a change, to go and make a difference. It was when they saw that difference, they hired my staff. They
Mm,
hired another USAID staff based on the proposal that we had to develop it. That's why we have that big department in Shell today.
mm,
That's why I'm mentioning the name. Anybody that like can challenge me and I'll produce the document.
mm,
So when the diaspora need to understand that
mm,
why are people going into kidnapping? The kidnapping is not only the Fulanis now.
mm,
People that have no job, they will go into kidnapping. You have people who are doing what do you call it, Yahoo, they have no jobs.
mm,
That's why they're in Yahoo. They did not go to any school to learn Yahoo.
mm,
There is no university offering that course.
mm,
But our political system is offering the course because of the attitude of our leaders, because of the
mm,
flamboyance, because of all the way they behave. So our youth are dumping other things and looking for a safe way of making money. So diaspora need to understand these various areas and then
mm,
set up mechanism and say, okay, how can we stop our youth from crossing the Sahara Desert? How can we convert our youth from Yahoo? Because these are guys that could be technology giants globally.
yeah,
There are things, it's not easy to forge credit card. It's
mhm,
not easy to hack people's
obviously,
accounts. You
obviously,
need intellect. No dons, no illiterate will be able to go there. These are very talented human beings. So
mm,
what are we doing to depopulate the Yahoo community
yeah,
and expose them and tell them they could make better money if they are doing this, if they are creative, if they could be like the next Bill Gates, they could be like the next Steve Jobs.
yeah,
It's
mm,
possible. Indian is doing it. Why are we not doing it? Why? What is the role of tribalism? What is the role of religion? We need to understand that because you cannot sit on this side and say you are in diaspora and then you're cursing the country, you're cursing everybody, the good and the bad, you're cursing them. So there had to be a way of segregating, crystallizing what the problem is and then focusing. But they must organize themselves. I've been at several forum where they organize themselves. Everybody sit down, they eat, they dance, and then you don't go into the nitty gritty. You don't go deep. Before
yeah,
you start, somebody make a flowery statement. Oh,
mm,
those people are not serious. Nigeria can never change, man.
mm,
Hey, Nigeria can never change. Nigeria can change.
yes, sir.
So we need thinkers. We need strategic thinkers among the people in diaspora. It's not everybody in diaspora that you need on the table. Let me be honest with you. There are some of them that don't even know the county where they live. So you cannot give what you don't have.
Mm,
So it has to be intentional. It has to be by people like the conference we had.
yeah, where you
Like
were,
conference we had.
you had.
Yes.
I was going to say that, Deacon Mike, can I shock
Yeah.
you that this conversation we are having, this is just going to be another way of unfolding maybe what is next? Because I can tell you a lot of youth who could even make themselves available don't have the right mentorship. And I haven't seen you mentor thousands. And from what you've even shared, there are many of your mentees that have risen up to global, space there, doing great. I would like to push to you. This might be the right time to give you this challenge that you need to document this, because this storytelling part of this conversation needs to be turned to a book. And there are many youth and many people listening that want to learn and want to see how you can guide them so that they also can begin to embark on that path, that they can begin their own relevance in whatever need or wherever place they have found themselves. And I want you to now think about wrapping up the conversation on what will you say to that guy, that woman listening this moment, who is also in search of his or a strong wife, and how they can connect with you with regards to leadership and service and this conversation, because I believe that this small interview cannot do justice to everything that you have inside of you.
Yeah, thank you. You're correct because you're not even as late as yesterday. Somebody still talked to me about writing a book, and I think I mentioned before that I actually have a title in mind, and I think I've been talking, so I will also throw the ball back at you so you can also take it up. But that said, I think mentorship is very key. Coaching is key because somebody, when you see a signpost and it tells you this way leads to um, so university or leads to so market, you turn your car and you follow. So somebody who gives you information and directs you on the way to go is very key. And if you obey. So I think we need to wrapping up, we need to make sure that there is a mentorship program. I must tell you this, because my 70th birthday was celebrated on May 1st this year.
Wow.
And all the people that I have mentored, that I have trained, they all got together, raised
Wow.
money,
Wonderful.
some millions,
Wow.
and then they set up an organization called Leadership, the
Wow.
leadership development for me to mentor people and
Oh
to
my
give
God.
people fellowship. So I was blown away because I was not expecting it. They just came out and they say, this is the first check. And right there and then a bank put more money, they open accounts and all that. So I have that coming, where
Great.
not just
Thank you for
leadership in
sharing.
health,
Yeah.
yes, not just
Global
leadership in
leadership.
health,
Hmm.
but global leadership. And
Great.
like I was saying that day, PLO, Patrick Lumumba,
Yeah.
PLO,
Yeah.
Professor Lumumba,
Great.
we're also working together. I'm on his board, and we're talking on how to improve leadership in Africa, on how to do it. So it is something that I'm already involved with. It's my next level of work. I've just like taken the last 3 months to rest, but from today,
Yeah.
we start to put vision and mission and all that and say who are the first trans, because by my next birthday, we need to be able to say 4 or 5 persons have been mentored, or
Great.
they're in the process of being mentored, or they've been exposed. So we have a program to do leadership because there's no other way
Yeah. Yeah.
than to change leadership practice. Leadership is not a position held by one, it's a collective responsibility. Our leaders, for me, I don't call them leaders, they just rule, and so um, I can be rich. It's a life that I live to mentor people. I can drop food and talk to somebody. I can lose sleep and talk to somebody because the more people we have that know what to do, because you find out when you talk to some youth, I've talked to a number of them, they just don't know. They're looking for a job. One was looking for a job the other day. I said, have you considered this? Have you considered this? You're
Hmm.
looking for a job. The time you're spending looking for a job, you could be thinking strategically. You can
Yeah.
be tactically thinking, say, what problem do I want to solve? 10
Hmm.
years from now, what do I want to see? And by the way, I want to also let you know, my mother's story in the course of my work at Pathfinder,
Yeah.
we were able to find out how to keep a woman alive who is bleeding because my mother
Hmm.
bled to death, and
Wow.
we Pathfinder work with funding from Mercator. We work with University of South Carolina. I mean University of San Francisco in
Hmm.
California
Wow.
to work on anti-shock garment that
Hmm.
enables women to keep the blood on the upper part and not going to the lower part. So it
Hmm.
gives you time to rush them to the. So we got that, and for me, I was very happy. I
Hmm.
celebrated it that at least in my lifetime, we
Hmm.
have found that thing that will save women from dying. So we must. My message is: look for a need and try to meet that need. Look for a development need. Don't condemn, don't curse, don't swear, because when you're cursing yourself. When
Hmm.
you say Nigerians are thieves, you're saying you are a thief because you are a Nigerian. It does not matter whether you are not a US citizen. It does not, because God was not mad when He made you to come from Nigeria
Yeah.
or from Uganda or from Egypt. God knew what He was doing by allowing you to come from there. So saying no, 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 because you now have a apartment or you have accommodation in a place does not change who God made you to be.
Yeah.
So let us join hands together. It is possible. I will do this work until God calls me and I sleep.
Yeah.
Even in my sleep, I will be doing the work. So
Mm.
there's no retirement, there's no going backward because it can be done. I have seen
Yes,
it.
I
I've
believe that.
cut across religion, cut across tradition and all that. I've not had problem. So the problem I have is people are attacking me. Don't be
Naked.
afraid to be attacked. If
Yeah.
you're doing a good job, you should
Definitely, you
expect
will
it.
feel such.
Yes.
That's true.
So that's what
Wow.
I'll say. But I can be reached on LinkedIn. It's
Okay.
Mike Egboh. You will find it.
Okay.
I'm developing a website,
That's
that
it.
can be reached once it's up. I'll let you know because of the new foundation I'm going to be running.
All right.
So the former one before, I also had one organization that I've disconnected the website, which is Inward African Development Initiative. That means African looking inward. We
Yeah.
were not ready to take money from outside, but
Mm.
within Africa, because we
Yeah.
believe it can be done.
Mm.
So let's do it.
Okay. I love that way you blended that. We want to talk on the table. We don't just continue want to remain asking for aids. And
Yeah.
I love that part when you said we should look for a problem and look for a developmental solution that we can use to solve that problem in our own little space. That is a great challenge to every one of us out there because it is very easy to be critical than to be correct. So everyone has a duty, has a role. And thank you very much, Deacon Mike Egboh.
You're
Thank you for
welcome.
sharing your wisdom and your heart. Your journey shows us indeed that real leadership is about humility. I know somebody like you to still be grounded with all the accolade, with the level of recognition you have globally, nationally. It is still very, very common to see somebody of faith and with such a global relevance still being able to come on the show without any stress to have you come. And thank you for the spirit and the story they've shared. I know a lot of lives watching will have been stirred and sparked to wanting to see what they will start doing to bring a change and to bring the Nigeria of our dream. I know it's not going to end there. We will still continue the
Yeah.
conversation, God willing. And by the next
Sure.
time we'll be having you, I know your books will be ready for many of us that would love to have you, And that
Mm.
mentorship, I will keep in touch to make sure that once this is set up and running, we'll have friends and many of us from here that would love to partake in that call. All
Okay.
right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So, viewers,
Thank
this
you.
is where, thank you very much for coming. And this is where we're
God
going to
bless you.
stop the show and end this conversation. And it didn't end here. Please share this episode. I want you to please comment, even on the video, what aspect of today's conversation steered you or gave you the most insight. And also, if you are looking forward to document your life story, document your expertise, your wisdom in form of a book, this is the opportunity you have. You can send a call on the link below the description to have a clarity session on how Loretta Consulting can support you in that journey. And until I see you next time with another amazing guest, subscribe for more of purpose, legacy, and diaspora leadership conversation. Thank you and keep living in your creative space because that is all what we are called to do. And it's
Yeah.
bye for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.